Hi, my name is Kitty and I'm a mother of two children with idiopathic ketotic hypoglycemia. Their name is André and Hervør. We live in the Faroe Islands. Hervør had a normal life until I stopped breastfeeding her in December when she was 11 months old. She was healthy, except that we had told the health nurses several times that we could hear and feel cracks from her body. She immediately got sick, and in a short period of time we were twice in the hospital. The second time, on Christmas Eve, they only took blood test and sent us home again. On the 6th of January 2017, just before her 1-year birthday, we almost lost her. She fell down on the floor and stopped breathing, cramped and had no pulse. This was at 8:45 p.m. The tongue stuck out of her mouth, her eyes rolled back, and she became completely pale and blue. She came back to life but was still not responding, and few minutes later she was gone again. The two other kids were screaming, "She's dying." My mother, their grandma, called 911, and the hospital told her in the phone that this was an epilepsy attack, because my mother told them that her body was stiff, and the hospital said that she couldn't do anything. Hervør came back to life again, and the ambulance came and the porter did nothing, because they were also told from the hospital that it was epilepsy, even though she wasn't responding to anything and still was pale. She was at intensive care and still wasn't responding at anything for 2.5 hours. And the staff on the hospital also said that it was normal when someone had an epilepsy seizure, that her body was completely exhausted, and that was the reason she didn't respond to anything. Her eyes didn't even move. And then I got rice porridge in the room for me at 11 p.m. And I thought, I'm not going to sleep before I have given my daughter something to eat. So I laid the spoon under her tongue and let the fluid into her mouth. And I did it again and again. Half an hour later, she began to move her eyes and respond to me. Today, when I know what was going on, I can't imagine what had happened if I did not do that and had just laid myself to sleep that night. I am so bitter about why the doctors didn't do more and how they blinded themselves to epilepsy. Before all this, she was a happy little girl that grew and developed as she should. We were so worried about her after that incident. If the doctors had looked after her blood test 24 December 2016, they would have seen that there was something wrong already there, but they didn't. She started in kindergarten, but was sent home again almost every time. She was there so rare because she always was sick, and if she got into sleep in the carriage, she slept so deep that she was so tough to wake again. So we decided that we wouldn't lay her to sleep alone again in the middle of the day. When she got older, about 2 years old, her symptoms began to be much worse, and we knew clearly that there was something wrong with our girl, because her body couldn't be in itself. She lost her hair, got nose bleeding all the time, and she got hysterical seizures through all the day. It was hardest every morning when she woke up, and we couldn't do anything with her before she had her breakfast. She refused everything, was just screaming. We knew that this wasn't our little girl. She refused any food or anything, closed her mouth, so we had to hold her and get some liquid in her mouth. Then 2-3 minutes later, her body relaxed. This was going on for about 6 months, and she was eating every 50 minutes. The doctors in the hospital couldn't find out what was wrong, and took us not seriously enough. It was a coincidence that I contacted Ulrik Støyvold. I found Ulrik on Facebook, and I took a chance and wrote to her on Messenger to see if she was able to figure out what was wrong. Every day was a struggle. All we knew was that the local doctor had sent us to the hospital 3 months before this, because he had measured low blood sugar, 2.7, and said this was not normal. And just by writing to Ulrike about everything we had been through, she knew what was wrong, and told us to change the diet. Our daughter changed almost immediately. Ulrike Steuerwald saw our daughter for the first time 3 months later and diagnosed her with ketotic hypoglycemia. And then she told us all about this blood sugar and ketones and how we should do. 2 months later, we tested our son's blood sugar and ketones one morning because I recognized the symptoms I read about ketotic hypoglycemia and GSD and the experience we had with our daughter. Our son's blood sugar was 2.7 and ketones 5.8, and I immediately contacted Ulrike Steuerwald again. And 11 days after, he was also diagnosed with ketotic hypoglycemia. When André was about 1 year old, he also fell down on the floor and got unconscious for about 1 minute. The ambulance came and we got to the emergency, but they only said that maybe this was how he responded when he falls. This also happened in the kindergarten. One day, they called me at work and said my son just fell down and got unconscious and asked me what to do. I just said called 911 and I hung up and called my mother because she was in the same village and I was in another town at work. My mom drove immediately to the kindergarten, and when she came there, he was by consciousness again. There have also been several times in the kindergarten that he got no energy and just sat down and fell asleep, while other children on his age ran and played together, and when he woke up and got something to eat, he was feeling well again. There, Hervør and André's blood sugar were dropping very fast in the beginning. If they consumed sugar, just one bit of cake, about 7 to 12 minutes later, they were low again. At that moment, we avoided any fast sugar and they were eating often with very low carbohydrates and are still doing that and getting regular cornstarch to keep the blood sugar up. The first symptoms our daughter said when she could talk were, "My heart is knocking on. I have pain in my body. I have headache. I've been pausing my career for a while and now I am a Hong Kong mom to look at my 2 gold nuggets." So we also can get the situation stabilized, and we are learning to know our children anew, with the low blood sugar and ketones that they get, and what works best for them to thrive and develop. As parents, this can be very stressful, because when we are not doing a good job, it affects our children. I can also say that we can both relate to much of this from when we were kids and at a younger age. I can myself just say that my body can find out to use sugar properly. I feel best when my sugar is between 5.0 and 6.0. I hope one day there will be some answer for all of us. Subsequently, we have been seen by a specialist called Henrik Tubbe Christensen in Denmark, and he has helped us very much. And now the children are going to kindergarten again, and we are very thankful for all you have done for us, so thanks. We are treating the symptoms of the ketotic hypoglycemia, but we want to find out what is going on with our children's body. And I can just say for now, thank you, and I hope you will do some research for our sake and all the other families.